My name is Lynette, and if you're someone who is constantly being asked to design things and you're not a designer, then I'm here to help. Here are a few tips.
These are pixels. Those little squares are the building blocks of any good image. As you see, as I zoom out, it becomes a recognizable image. When you are creating for print, you need 300 pixels per inch. When you are creating anything for online, typical screen width is about 1420 pixels, and it would scale down to about 600 for mobile devices. So when you're searching for images, you just want to check that those dimensions match.
Color is another incredibly important aspect of design. There are two color models that you need to be worried about. RGB, which stands for red, green, blue, which is the color used on a monitor, and CMYK you might be familiar with because of your home printer. Cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Those ranges go from 0 to 100. RGB goes from 0 to 255. The difference is, with RGB, the lower the number gets, the darker your color is. The higher the number gets, the lighter your color is, and it's just the opposite with CMYK. When you are selecting colors for a design project, stick with no more than 2 to 3 colors. You want to have a primary color that you use in about 80% of your design, a secondary color, which is about 15, and then an accent color you would use 5% of the time for a pop of color. An easy way to figure out what colors look good together is by using the color wheel. If you stick with complementary colors that are across from each other on the color wheel, or a near complementary color scheme, which is one just adjacent to the one directly across, that's an easy, safe way to determine a good color scheme. My third tip is hierarchy. Hierarchy is the way that you have placed and sized objects in your design to guide your viewer's eye around the page. You can use a lot of different things to help this happen in the order that you want to create something that is first read, second read, etc. So size, placement, texture, color, contrast, and alignment are all different elements you can use. Here's an example of that. Fonts are my fourth tip. It is important to never use more than 2 to 3 fonts in anything you do, and never, ever, ever use Comic Sans. It should be outlawed. You should choose one font that is more utilitarian, that is easily to read, and then tie it in with a more decorative font, which could be a script, depending on what you're doing.
I leave you with this. Your choice of font says more about you than the words it's written in. If you're feeling bold, always italicize. And don't be afraid to let your freak font fly. I'm Brick Heck, and it has been my honor.
This is an example of a bleed where you can see the printing goes all the way to the edge. This would be an example of not a bleed, where you see they've left a white margin around the edges. To do this, you want to leave an extra 1/8 of an inch around each edge, so when the printer trims it, it ensures you don't have an ugly little white hairline there if the cut is not exactly right.
This is a good example of a bleed. You'll see these are the cut marks. They're also called crop marks. And you see that the ink that I want to go to the edge goes over the edge, and this is an 1/8 of an inch. If you're doing something larger, you want to do a 1/2 of an inch. So this is the cutter. It's called the guillotine that a printer would use. You would just slide it in there, and as you can see, that gives you the extra leeway for the cut. So this is that extra edge that you gave, and that gives your print a nice crisp edge.
Well, I hope that didn't sound too confusing. If you have any more questions or just would love some help with design, I am here. Please check the link in my bio and reach out today.